Hey everyone, it's Helen here. Today I'm going to show you some easy techniques to paint this misty blue winter landscape. I'll go through the brushes and colours that I use throughout the video, and I'll also put a link in the description below. I've sprayed the canvas with a little bit of water and I'm just brushing that in with the large flat brush. Now I've got my mop brush, I'm taking a little bit of white, a little bit of black, and I'm just going to dab that onto the canvas to create a misty grey effect. You can also use a sponge if you don't have a mop brush. Then I'm going to take some of this blue gum paint that I bought because I just thought it was a lovely colour, but you can easily make this colour or very close to it yourself. Take some cerulean blue, a little tiny bit of cadmium yellow, some titanium white. Give that a good mix together until you get a blue colour. Then if you want to bring it even closer to the colour that I'm using, you can add a little bit of bright aqua green. Just add a little by little, slowly get closer to that bluey green colour until you get a colour that you're happy with. As you can see, it's a pretty close match. So I'll take some of this blue, we'll add it to our grey colour, so we've got a really pretty icy bluey grey colour. And of course you could just use cerulean blue or any other blue that you think will look good. You don't need a special blue at all. For the trees in the distance, I'm just going to use this filbert brush. It's a straight line down, and then using the side and the tip of the brush, moving backwards and forwards to build up that tree shape. And this gives a nice fir tree shape with not a lot of detail in it, but it's a really quick and easy way to build up some trees in the background. I'm going to put some on the other side, but I'm leaving a space in the middle because that's where I'm going to paint my bright moon later. Other than that, just place them wherever you think they'll look good. The next step is to dry this completely. It has to be absolutely dry before we move on to the next section. So I'm going to take some either water or a little medium to thin down the paint, little titanium white, some of our lovely blue colour so the paint is very thin, and then I'm going to put a glaze over the top with our icy blue colour. I'm using a soft flat brush. I'm just gliding it on the surface of the canvas. I'm being very gentle and just working that upwards. When it's dry, it'll probably be a little more transparent. For the second row of trees, I'm going to paint them slightly differently just so you can see another way to do them. I've got my medium round brush, again straight line down the middle. We'll fill in the middle, more dense part of the tree with the medium round brush. And then for the edges, I've got a small hog bristle brush, or quite a firm bristle brush, to just dab on those fluffy edges of the trees. I've added a little more black this time so it's slightly darker, and again you can just place them wherever you think they'll look good. And when that's completely dry, we can put another glaze of our bluey white colour over the top again. A few of you have commented before that you've had problems with this and the paint is loosened and blurred and run underneath. Probably the reason for that happening would be the paint wasn't completely dry, or also that the brush you're using to put the glaze on is just a little bit too rough and coarse. So get the softest brush that you can, make sure that the paint is dry underneath, and then just lightly glaze it on the top and don't work it in too much. Then we can start putting in the river below. I've got my light blue again. I'm working that down, and I'm going to make the blue a little more intense as it gets closer to us. While that's drying, we can start painting the mist in the background. I've got a dry, firm bristled brush with just a tiny amount of my light blue paint, and I'm just going to dry brush and dust that over the top of the dry paint underneath. This will give a really nice misty effect in front of the trees. Then we can come in with the riverbank on the sides. I've got my large flat brush again, some black paint, and we can really just put that riverbank in wherever you think it will look nice. I'm going to work mine in from the right hand side, just coming across, block all of that in with black. And then on the left hand side I'm going to make it a lighter grey colour in the distance, so I've added more white. And then as we get a little closer to us, I've got my black paint again. We'll make it nice and dark at the front. Curve it around. Any harsh lines in the background, you can get your dry, firm brush again and add a little more mist just to soften and cover those a little. Then you can use either gold or yellow ochre or a similar colour for your moon in the background. I'm using gold. I've got a circle, so I'm going to take a bit of a shortcut and just use that as a template. But you can just paint on your circle if you need to. And then with a palette knife, I'm just going to scrape on and place a little bit of that gold paint sparkling around the moon. If you don't have either of those colours, white would also work. Just a plain white moon with the white highlights would look really good. You can put them wherever you like. And then we can come in with our trees right in the foreground. So these ones are going to be black. We'll put some straight lines down to mark out where they'll be. And this time I'm going to use a medium round brush and a small round brush to paint in a little more detail on the branches. I don't want them to be quite as dense. I want some individual branches. So I'm just going to use the side of the brush and it'll get a nice feathery effect. Of course you could use any one of the other techniques if you prefer. Use whatever brushes that you have to achieve a look that you like. We'll put a few on the left as well. And then I'm going to make a light grey colour with a little bit of our blue again. I'm going to start putting some reflections coming down with our grey into the water. It's just a matter of pulling them down. It's going to be a quite loose, slightly abstract painting, so we don't need to worry too much about detail. Sweep those down. You can always come back in and tidy up any black if you need to. We'll add a few swirly lines for reflections. And the same on the left. And then I've got my large flat brush again with white and my light blue, so it's a very pale blue colour. And we can start putting some highlights and reflections on the surface of the water. I've come back to the gold colour again, and we'll use our palette knife to start putting in some lovely sparkles on top of that icy blue water. Scrape them on, put them wherever you think they look nice. I'm going to brighten up the moon a little bit, so I've added some white to the gold. I'll just tidy that up a little bit. A few little highlights on the side of the riverbank. And we're all finished. Thanks for painting with me today. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the tutorial, and I'll see you in the next video.